Welcome, everyone. This is, oh yeah. Bismillah, Bismillah, how's it? Okay. Well, technically, we'll start all over. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. The title of our program is multifaceted today, but we're going to begin with the Great Recovery. This is a program we had October 21st, 2012. Let's say that's 9 years ago. So, but you'll see how the pattern is basically the same. We'll also explain what we've been doing during that period, and basically an outline of some of the goals we've had and how close we are to fulfilling those goals and carrying them out. This will be, if we can get them done in time, will be passed out this Thursday at Dua Komil out at IEC. So the sooner I get it back, the sooner I can crank up. I can do the ones that we're going to do in California a little later. But I have several flyers, so I'll just get into it. We'll be coming by to kind of raise funds and to raise as many funds as we can, because we are stepping right into it right now. And we're stepping into it according to what we call stepping into it. Wherever everybody else is at or want to be, a nice island was waiting by my house today. And I ain't going to go into it. He's middle level island. I'm not going to even tell you where he's from. But he's around in the area. And he's a pretty good guy. We talked for quite a while this morning about the what's going on in his country and what's going on in Iran, what's going on here, and we have a lot of similar ideas. But the Great Recovery, there's a guy here called Victor Jolly, I think. Have anybody ever heard of him? He's a motivational speaker. And he coined this phrase. Well, I'm not saying he stole it from us, but a setback is nothing but a setup for a comeback. Now, a lot of y'all wouldn't know, but we went through several changes and had a nice big show there in Oakland. We believe we helped a lot of people. We were very critical in Oakland. We had opened up our structure, and it was going along very well. Then the government came in, and just like what they did here, kind of, that right in Oakland, where I'm from, where we had, I don't know how many businesses, I'd have to sit down and count them. And I felt isolated in my own city. This is 50 years ago. But I was young and learning, so it wasn't no big deal. Well, it was a big deal because when you just getting into it, boss man is a big deal. Now he just regular old boss man. But at that time, we used to have a saying, man, the white man got you on the board, on the chessboard. In other words, He's moving here, moving there, da, 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 da. And when you're on the board, you know you're on the board. It ain't like you seen movies like some detective or some FBI agents are out to, they'll make a statement about the big, we're going to get you, big guy. Yeah, and the movie goes on and finally they produce an environment where the big guy gets down to his last bit of money and he got one more shipment coming in or one more big robbery, right? And he gets caught every time, this last big one. That happens because doing whatever he was doing, he didn't manage his money correctly. He didn't have foresight. He was dependent on things staying like they was, and we'll go on robbing banks. We'll go on doing whatever we do, selling whatever we selling. We'll go on doing that, and we'll keep doing it, and then we'll live happily ever after. Well, boss man, he have other plans. And if you watch him, he has the same basic plan that he falls into. Well, we had paid enough attention. Actually, you could see it on TV. It's the same pattern. So, years before that, it's really something. I went out to visit my friend, the number 2 in our organization. He had another case that didn't pertain to us. Actually, we was good friends in Oakland. He moved down to L.A. And whenever we used to do business in L.A., we would run it through him. So he got a case of counterfeiting, and then he came up to Oakland, and I just said, well, did you tell him you was going to give him somebody? Because when you get out right away on counterfeiting, he said, yeah. And I could see, well, why he's there. But our business got, when he came up, I put him in as second in command of what we was doing, and he was good at it. He was good at that. He just never had the opportunity to show it, and he didn't have the discipline to develop an organization like that. Whether it's cutie pie, whether it's getting high, whatever it was, but when he joined what we was doing, he started, man, he could, instead of counting all the reds out, second all, just cut a top, you know what I mean, and put how many you want in there, and then cut it right around there instead of sitting there counting them things all day. It was little simple stuff, but he had the gift for that. So he was in charge. One time, I did a few days on tickets, not a few days, I did a couple of months. And I was out at Santa Rita, and I asked him how things was going. He said, man, that water crank, whatever it is. He said, man, they pumped that our way the other a little while ago, and it's running like, we had the best stuff in the region. And he said, man, shoot, I got so many grand out in the trunk. I said, you got it out in the trunk? Yeah, this is, anyway. It was hilarious. When I got out of jail for that I went around and I was collecting money from people, and I had like big stacks of money. And it was in the summer, and I had on a mink coat, mink hat and stuff. But that's the way Negroes did. Anyway, just to let everybody know I'm back, But anyway, so he never did follow up on the feds on that. Life was too good And we was kind of friends, so he never followed up on, we'll send you back up to Oakland to get so-and-so. And I went to visit him in the federal prison camp. I'd take him ounces of blow and stuff like that. Say, I got an ounce of blow in the car. Just an ounce of blow, And it was hilarious. So I'd go get the blow and give it to him, and he'd hide it. It's just you visiting at a federal camp. It's not, he could put it in a light thing or anything. He could do whatever he want with it. Because it's not inside the camp. I mean, inside is the penitentiary. That's where you go first. But the camp is like a camp. I mean, it's just like you can walk off, run across. In fact, his hustle, first he was kind of chubby. And when he went to camp, part of his hustle was between count time, he would run to the liquor store and buy liquor for the rich white people. He'd probably charge them 4 or 5 times the money. He'd probably charge them $100 bottle for Chevy's Regal or something. Maybe at that time it was 20. But that's what he would do. He'd go out across the field and he'd have to run. And I come to see him. I said, man, you done trimmed down. He said, yeah, man, I've been running to the liquor store. I said, well, now an ounce of blow, chopping it up in prison and selling it, it was $100 a gram on the street. So probably getting. So anyway, we kept him where he'd get good money. And anyway, when he came out, he'd get a stack of money. But he really was very important in helping us just boom. Because he was a good manager. He didn't know it. But when he got moving, he was a good manager. And he'd come visit me and said, yeah, man, we making. I mean, when I was in jail at that period, maybe it was 68, 69, something, he said, man, I was just gone a short time and the business exploded while I was in jail. I didn't go around to see how much money you got. You got any money? You hiding any money? No, we having so much money, who cares? Anything you could, with all that money. I don't want to change the subject, but Negroes are so stupid. They getting so much money they can't count it. And they'll kill somebody for stealing $500. Like somebody in Oakland burn up a guy. They do it everywhere, but this might have been 40 years ago. Somebody owed somebody a little money, and they set them on fire and burn him up. $50. I said, good God Almighty. I never would even think about doing nothing like that. If somebody first thing, just the business thing, I will get back into the Great Recovery in a minute. If somebody come and they want to get busy, so you give them a 1/4 ounce. They bring that back, you give them another 1/4 ounce. Then they bring that back, you give them another 1/4 ounce. Then after that, you give them a 1/2 ounce. And another 1/2 ounce. So, because see, them first quarters, if he give you 1/4 back, he didn't paid for anything he going to get in the next. If he bring that back, if he don't bring it back, that's it. You just don't get nothing else. But if he bring back 1/4 ounce of money, he's paying, let's say, 3 times what we paid for it. Maybe 4. That sounds better. Because we giving him a break. And then if somebody, we start giving them a 1/2 ounce, then 2 or 3 of them, and they bring the money back, then we give them an ounce. And another, another ounce. And they do that for a while, then they can get a 1/4 pound, 4 ounces, But see, he's going to pay for all of that beforehand. No matter what he get, When we give him a quarter pound, which is a nice amount of whatever it is, it's a lot. You know, a quarter pound of powder is a lot of powder. You know, whatever kind of powder it is, and he gonna get rich. But he done brought quarter quarter ounce, then many of those, half ounce, many of those, then ounces. He done brought back several of those. So by the time we give him a quarter pound, he done paid for. If he come back and say, man, a bird snatched it up and flew over the thing and dropped it down, then the rat took it and it run down a hole, then the snakes got on it. That's what niggas tell you that stuff. I'm telling you. I am not lying. And you have to be really brave not to do nothing. So what I did was, I didn't go to movies much at that time. So we went to clubs and all that. So I started using it as my entertainment. The Negroes come talking, and instead of, because you would think I must look like a damn fool. What he just told me. Now the other people, you know why it's so much killing? Because they take it like the lie is so ridiculous that they say the guy, you must think I'm a fool. And then they shoot him or have him shot. That's why so many, not me. Before he get anything worth anything, he gonna be done brought back thing after thing after thing. So if he owed a quarter ounce, for a quarter pound, 4 ounces, and he bring back only 2 ounces worth of the money. So, well, that's about it, I said, since you're a nice guy, I'm going to give you enough for 2 more ounces that you paid for, and now you're going to have to bring back all 6 of those ounces with that. And guess what? They would just about do it. So we never had a reason to hurt nobody. So by the time he run off with something, and then you the best deal in town, he had to go get somebody else to go get something from you, right? One of his friends. And his friends going to cheat him automatically. Right? They know it's automatic, Yeah, man, he gave me such and such. And then he done cut it all up, and then he take it to him because he can't come to you because he owe you. Right? Well, he don't really owe you nothing because you done got your money back 100 times when he cheats you. And that's what I said, you got to kill you killed Johnny Boy, man, what's wrong with man? That's why the Vice Squad used to like me, because I they could sit in the office and eat donuts and drink coffee all the time. They didn't have to go, because it wasn't no killings. During my administration, that's what I call it. Shoot, we had knocked out the murder. It wasn't, I don't even remember nobody getting killed. And I said to my homeboy before he passed away a couple of years ago, I said, we never even beat nobody up, huh? He said, yeah, but we was ready. I said, okay. But we never even, can you imagine the kindness operation? So when we put kindness on that, we did kindness in the worst type of business you could imagine. I mean, we have experience with it. So anyway, that was our experience. So anyway, homeboy would come out and visit me and say, man, we got so much money in the trunk. And I'd look all around, you got all that money in that trunk? Because when I left, we was making, say, $10,000 or $20,000. You would say, man, I got 50 grand in the 50 grand in the trunk. Good God Almighty. You ain't, what? And I'm looking all out the window, the jailhouse window, the visitor room. sitting by the window. Said, let's sit by the window so we can see the cars. Yeah, but anyway, so this thing, a setback, is nothing but a setup for a comeback. Goes back to those days. It goes back to those days. Because now the blessing was, although we were black orientated and supporting black nationalism, you know, some of the people, when you see their picture, you could recognize who they are. We can't go and see them anymore. I don't know what the laws are up that way. But, you know, like if you've been a convict, you can't go hang out with no convicts in some states. You know, they'll put you in a penitentiary just for that. And you don't know what the deal is somebody made to get out. You know, and that's basically what your friends will tell you. Man, I made a little da-da-da-da. Okay, no problem. You know, in other words, I was sitting in there for 30-something years. Ain't nobody did nothing. So, you know, da-da-da-da. No, I'll be good. I would, all that stuff. So being good means I won't be around nobody that they got the whole list. You can hang around, here's the whole snitch list. You can be around all of them. But so-and-so, you know, no. Anyway, a setback is nothing but a setup for a comeback. Now, these words are actually from a guy here in D.C. If you look up Victor Jolly, can you look up Victor Jolly? Jolly, I think it's Jolly. Yeah, I think it's Victor Jolly. Willie Jolly. Willie Jolly. Yeah, I don't know where Victor came from. Willie Jolly. Now, this is our theme all of our life. But he just, I heard him say it. I said, that boy, I like the way he sounds. A setup is nothing but a setup for a comeback. In the life we live, in the street life, people was always making a comeback. They get big and they get to partying and then they kind of go broke or they pimping and somebody steal all their women. You know what I mean? All kind of stuff, you know. And then you got to make a comeback. But you would watch people, and you know, like a rubber ball, when you throw it down, it just bounces back. You could throw it down and be ready to catch it. But after you do that so long, it loses its bounceability, elasticity. It don't bounce back too quick. And that's the way the Negro was. Some people would get lucky and hit they whatever they did, and they would spend that money. They would never get back. Some had the game down that if they got big and they was snorting a little blow and stuff like that, and you know, like you can imagine if you snorting blow and it's $100 a gram, a spoon, a little tablespoon, teaspoon. That's where we measure teaspoon. And that little bit of blow, and you can do that. You can snort up that blow and just like that, you know. And so people would go broke. They'd get big, and then they'd go broke, and then they'd have to crank back up. That's why this stuff like a setback is nothing but a setup for a comeback. Because like a fighter, like my friends was fighters. And I was saying, I made my comeback, my first comeback was in January the 1st, 1972. I left Europe. I'd been to Africa and I left Europe. So I'm going to make a comeback. Now, when I left, you wouldn't believe it, but a guy called me a year and a half ago or more, on my 75th birthday. I haven't seen him. Last time I saw him was the train station in Hamburg. We was going back to Copenhagen. Now, of course, I know how he got the number and everything. I didn't even know him that well. Yeah, man, you know who this is? I said, not really. I have, technically, I don't have no idea. This is so-and-so. And I'm in the Starbucks. And talking loud. And my kids saying, Dad, you got to quiet it down. Because I'm saying, yeah, man, we at the train station, last time I saw you was at the train. You talking loud, right down there. Man, that was in 71. Into 71, because we'd spent Christmas at your parents' place down in K-Town, Kaiserslautern. You know, that's American base, and his people was in it. One was a sergeant in the Army, the other was a sergeant in the Air Force. They was married. Yeah, man. I didn't ask him how he got my number, or how did he know I was still alive, or anything else after 50 years, after all the stuff I done been all over and he just called in. I guess maybe Boss Man had him call. I would be willing to bet that. I mean, 50 years? Yeah, the last time I thought it was 50 years back. How he gonna get in contact with me? And he sounded like a wino, because the boss man, he don't pay snitches a lot. He hire them, they be on a temporary basis. And the people, they be snag a tooth, like the guy that helped kill, he didn't kill Malcolm, but the guy that was on the police force, you ever seen him when they interviewed, he had snag a tooth and everything? Okay, this guy was on security when Malcolm was killed. And they interview him on TV. He got a snag a tooth and everything. They don't take care of these snitches. It's temporary basis. They hire them on it. Anyway, let me get back to the point. The Great Recovery. This was not what we were doing at the time. This is 9 years ago. But this is projected in ahead of time so they could come out stop us from doing this. Let me explain it again. This is 2012. We playing with them. So we putting all of this stuff out. We putting this stuff out. But this is not our plan for them. This is to make them move, which they did. They come out in a hurry. This is 9 years ago. Yeah, 2012. And it goes on to say, Imam Musa's story of tenacity and endurance begins in the 1960s as manager of the biggest, most well-organized black mafia-type organization in Northern California. In the early 1970s, this organization transitioned into becoming a financial supporter of black liberation movements in exile. Not the ones here, but the ones that had to leave. From Algeria to Tanzania, and those were the focus points. After years of leading the first and only multi-million-dollar African-American managed cocaine smuggling operation from Bogota to Medellin, Colombia, to the USA in the late 70s, witnessed its voluntary closing down. Voluntary closed down, that's it. In fact, just a secret. When we closed down the operation, I didn't send out no memo to everybody that says it's closed. I got paperwork, I was staying in Mexico. We would send the blow from Colombia up to Mexico because we knew Mexico well. So the capital of Sonora, the state below Arizona and all of that, is Hermosillo. So I would stay in Hermosillo. Now, Hermosillo's in the Sonora Desert. You know, when you already black, but you got to wear a black V-neck T-shirt and where you could see, you could be like tar baby, solid black right there, and then brown everywhere else. That's how hot it was. It would be like, hey, like Arizona, except a little hotter. You know, that's as hot as you can get. I mean, still be in this hemisphere. Anyway, so the idea was, you know, you get pretty good at we used to call it the Negro Route. And other people started using that 10 or 15 years later. You know, from South America to Mexico and from Mexico into the United States. They would fly big planes and crash them in the U.S. with blow on board back in the 70s and 80s and all of that, you know. But we didn't do that. Every time we did a deal, we got bigger and bigger and better organized. So my job was to go up to Mexico and have, you know, spots along the border. Have a central location and send up blow, blow, blow. And every now and then across the border from here. Across the border from here. And if you send a shipment from here and it got busted, so which you never did, so what? You got all the rest of them. It don't make a difference, right? You know. So the last time we had got big, and I said to myself, if we make this one, I ain't gonna never quit. You know where you know it inside? And I walked away and left it right there. Oh, I don't know what happened to the stuff. I didn't even check. I just left it. Because I knew if that was, you know, that last one was so substantial that if that's successful, I ain't gonna never quit this thing here. At least that's the way I felt. So I just got up, and that is the best decision I ever made. I just left it. And I came back to the penitentiary and went join the penitentiary. I didn't join. I mean, they kind of put me in. But that was the best decision I ever made. It was the best decision I ever made. Not only in hindsight, but I look at everybody else on that level. On that level, the life expectancy, and I would have been so deep in it that I would be making the money for the wrong reason. See, the reason I was making that money is because when I went overseas, the brothers didn't have no money. Everybody in exile, you could call them now, you could dial it up. They didn't have no money. The black people here, they're not in the news anymore, so, or they done killed all their friends and can't nobody send them no money. Ain't nobody sending them no money. The most saddest people you'd ever see is the brothers that fought for the liberation of black people here, and they were stuck over there with no, first of all, they travel under assumed name, so they don't have no job experience for over there. They don't have no ID for, if one of the guys, Dr. John Branyan, anybody ever look up Dr. John Branyan? Dr. John Branyan, you know whose doctor he was? He was Idi Amin's doctor. Yeah, he was because Idi Amin didn't need no, this is the biggest Negro. All of his friends was Johnson Publications and all of them. That's the last time I seen him in Johnson Publication. I went to my doctor And he said, you was in Africa a lot, wasn't you? I said, yeah. And he said, you know Dr. So-and-so? And I said, did you know Doc? Did y'all go to school together? He said, no. And they showed me maybe a 1983 jet, not jet, Ebony. It's in there. Anybody ever see, you never seen that? But it's in there. If you can ever look it up, look up Dr. John Branyan. But those are the people, he could work for Idi Amin because Idi Amin didn't trust all them white doctors and all other people was acting funny. But this is a Negro doctor. This is a Negro doctor, and he was a chief resident in Chicago. But he didn't have no paperwork. So Idi Amin probably checked with the British intelligence and said, yeah, this nigga on the run, da 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 da. But anyway, it was a lot of stuff like that. But here's the point. The best decision I ever made in my life, well, the first decision to leave America, when I left, it's all that was gifts from Allah. Because I looked around at what's happening to everybody. And I said, nigga might not make it too long around here. You know what I mean? I mean, that's just the way it was happening at that time. And then the thing about the level of wealth. See, we had a meeting in Algeria at the headquarters of the Black Panther Party, and I told them about this. I said, let's do this and let's do that and get money for the rebellion. No, we can't do it. Well, that's what they were saying on the surface, but half is against our principles. And I was just saying to myself, but y'all stay high all the time. You go down to the Rue de Douche-Marad buying hashish. What's the deal about and then I'm there full of discipline, running on the beach every morning. And they're not doing no training for nothing. I came to the conclusion that they didn't ever want to come back and take over America, like, and fix things, which they didn't. Anyway, a long story short, this makes you believe in Allah even more, because at every critical point in history, whatever message you picked up out of the environment, it had to be sent from Allah because it was the right one at the right time. And get up and get out of here. And then when you go over there and you get big, successful, and the one that is going to make, you're going to be on easy street. Not easy street, because I lived then just like I live now, sleeping on the floor. Well, I lived in the maid's quarters, because down in South America, every house have a maid's quarters. And no matter how big the house is, it has. And so I used to sleep in the maid's quarters half the time on the floor, I just learned, believe it how I learned it. I was traveling around, and when I left here, I had suitcase after suitcase. You ever see a movie where a white woman that's kind of rich go on a trip on a boat, and they got people carrying all their luggage? That's the way I was. When I left, shoot, I had 10 pair of shoes. I had mink hats and suits. I had, good God Almighty. And then, guess what? When you travel inside the United States, you didn't have to pay extra. When you go outside the United States, anything over 66 pounds, you have to pay extra. That's okay, you're rich. But you have to pack all of that stuff up. And the other thing is, they don't wear that stuff nowhere else that you go. I could wear one suit one time when I was up near Kilimanjaro. Mount Meru, Arusha is cool. It's 14,000 feet up, so it's cool. So I could put on a nice mink stuff, But it's Africa. Who the hell knows what that is or cares, right? So I looked at it like this. I said, man, this stuff is a burden. So when I left was at the train station, the guy that I said, he called, he said, man, remember they stole our luggage. They didn't steal nothing. He stole it or had it stole, I'm sure it's the police. I mean, after all, who else could he be, So they did me a favor. I went on back up to Copenhagen, got me a ticket, and came on back over this way. And I remember it because it was January the 1st, 1972. So that's a setback, ain't nothing but a setup for a comeback. So that was my first real comeback, is then. And that's why it worked. It was a comeback. And it was a comeback that was sizable for those times. It was so sizable that just like here, we got a certain program. Well, I knew Boss Man was everywhere and everybody, even at that time. So we did stuff right there. Boss Man's people, he could count all of that. So, just like now, Boss Man do something, he gonna get all the money back that he let you make. But he didn't know then, and he don't know now. Down there, I had my own thing going on the side. He didn't know nothing about it. All I do is walk every morning in the hills, go to the gym. Boy, I was buff, skinny, but cut. Boy, look at here. I weighed 175 pounds when I was heavy. One time I was down to 164. So that means, and I'm lifting weights at least twice a day. I mean, doing all the perfect, boy, look at here, talking about cut. Hey, man. Anyway, but no matter what's going on, if you have a feel for history and the historical period, see, when I was traveling, I took books with me, and I studied the books all the time, And I had Chairman Mao's books and stuff like that. And it was a 4-volume set. At that time, it's a 5 now, but it was 4-volume then. In fact, Pete O'Neill gave it to me. It was Chairman Mao's writing about guerrilla warfare and all of that. And the only one I liked was volume 1 because it had all, and that's the only one I use now. Strategic management under conditions of repression, psychological guerrilla warfare. We changed it from the principles of guerrilla warfare, right, to psychological guerrilla warfare. In other words, we don't have no place to run around and hide in the woods to do guerrilla warfare, and you can't hide with Negroes because they'll tell on you then and now, right? So we have to change it to psychological guerrilla warfare. And we proposed it to Boss Man. What you say, Boss Man? And he agreed. I said, good. He agreed because he think this nigga, I run him crazy. This nigga's a fool talking about psychological guerrilla warfare. When we finished with him, well, he didn't know that he had already trained us pretty good. I mean, real good. So psychologically, we was ahead of him because he has his limits. He has his limits. And when you test him, and you didn't have 30 or 40 years to test him, you know what his limits are. So you tricking him, you doing Bruh Rabbit and Bruh Bear stuff on him. And he don't know what it is. Do y'all remember the story about Bruh Rabbit and Bruh Bear? Bruh Rabbit, he hid in the berry bushes, the briars, as they used to briar patch. And he said, Brother Bear caught him. He said, oh, Brother Bear, instead of eating him, he said, please don't throw me in the briar patch. That's where he lived. In the berry bushes, if you run up in hills like I do, and the rabbits run around they got little cutouts. That's where they hide, in the berry bushes, the briar patch they call it. So he said, that's his home. So he pleads with Brother Bear, please don't throw me in the briar patch. And just to be mean, Brother Bear threw him in his house, in his home, where he feels safe. And that's the way we did Boss Man. See, that old country stuff, it come to you when you need it. The only one that knew what I was talking about was Imam Jamil, because he's from the country too. He's from Louisiana down there. And he's the only one. All the other people in the city, they city folks. I tell you, it just don't. So when I told him about something, he said, yeah. That's why I'm telling you, he said, that's Brother Bear and Brother Rabbit. That's a story. Look up Brother Rabbit. You think I'm lying? That's a story. Brother Rabbit and Brother Bear. And so, look, use stuff that Boss Man don't know nothing about. He don't understand it. It's simple. Right? 3-card Molly and all that, if you know, just don't play it. Because when you stick your finger on, it's going to be there. It ain't there. Right? It never is, except he wanted to be there every now and then. So he got people with him that, and they said, there it is. And it's there because they work together. Right? Man, I can do that. And you put down $100. Oh, it ain't there. Man, I'll get it another 100. Pretty soon you broke. And he might let you win $10 so you can get home. But you're going to leave all that money there, right? Yeah, because it's a team. They're working together. Hey, man, traveling. Look, you think I'm lying. I'm not going to change the subject, but when I was in the penitentiary in Florida, it was a friend of mine who was in exile, was a radio preacher. He was a nice brother, nice looking guy, light brown skin, wavy hair, all that stuff. You would think he was a pimp. That's what you would think. You would swear he was a pimp. And so when I was in jail in Florida, in fact, it was in Miami, his son and a few more people was in that jail with me, the federal jail. The federal jail. The federal jail had a big pond. I used to run around it. It had an alligator in it. It had fish in it. And you didn't have bars on your cell. This was a modern jail. You know the size of a sheetrock is 8x4 or something like that? That was your picture window, so you could see out of the big picture window. They didn't have gun towers. They had a road they used to drive. And so, I'm used to them old-time penitentiaries. So I said, shoot, boy, look at here. All the people from down South America, they would bring them, when they'd be coming from court, they'd be for cocaine, for everything. So it's the two of them is talking. And he was asking, well, where are we going? He said, La Cárcel. So the jail. So when they got there, he said, ¿Qué es eso? He said, it's La Cárcel. It's La Cárcel. He looked at the jail. Pretty lawns, no bars. You know how the police can keep you there as long as they want. They just don't look like they can keep you. You know what I mean? He said, it's La Cárcel? This is the jail? Shoot, half them guys say, hey, man, sign me up. Sign me up. But anyway, let's get back to the story. You know what? I may do another one tomorrow or something on this because I might have. Anyway, it'll be kind of like this. A setback is nothing but a setup for a comeback. Says, this story reflects the transformational potential of Islam. It is known by the people of Oakland, yet is not told to the mainstream Muslims because Imam Musa is barred from the members of all the Bay Area Masjid. Instead, college students with no experience whatsoever in the real black liberation movement, that's Abdul Malik, them, Hashim, them, they don't have none. 0, 0, below 0. They have less than 0 experience in the movement. But they go around and they have them come and teach the students, the immigrant students, about the black movement. And all the black movement people is dead. So, not dead, but it's 100 years ago. So they're the experts. To this point, they're the experts. And they don't know nothing about. I would tell Abdul Malik about W.L. Nolan. He'd go get a book on W.L. Nolan, and then he would tell me, W.L. Nolan was my best friend's cousin. And me and W.L. was in Frico Ranch School for Boys back in 57 and 58. You know, and their brother Carnell Nolan. So W.L. is the one that taught George Jackson and them about manhood training, how to box and how to fight. That's W.L. They killed him on the Soledad Yard in 1968. They just killed him on the yard in 68. They just shot him down. You can't go nowhere. You're on the adjustment center yard. There's nowhere you can go. And they just shot him dead. You know, anyway, so these people, they go around, they'll read a book on that, and here come Abdul Malik telling me, man, do you know W.L. Nolan did this? I said, I was just trying to remember whether I told you that the other day or not, how you figured, you know, that he was a friend of mine. They would read about it, and then when they would go to the colleges, all immigrant students, they were experts on the black movement. Hashim was down there teaching at the school. Hashim Alauddin, that people say that he might have got Malcolm's grandson killed, you know. Well, you know, long story, but all I know is I'd be sitting in the class sometime down there, because I'd speak down there a lot, down in Houston, and say, he was talking black. And so we had a meeting once. He starts out, he's from Richmond, you know, Richmond, Oakland, Berkeley, all that area, California. But he might have his PhD now, but he was teaching. And so he's teaching in a school down there, Gonzalez School, he says. And he was talking super black. Black. And 10 or 15 years before, we had a meeting at our Masjid. And some of the young ladies, Hashim is half Japanese, so he's part of the curly-headed crew. They are real, they do exist. I'm telling you, the curly-headed crew. I'm not going to name them, but that's what I call them, the curly-headed crew. They have that middle-class look, or upper middle class, what they call upper. They got that school days look. You know them niggers, those people in school days? the way they acted, skin tone, all that stuff, they believe that. They look here, these people are into that. I couldn't have no sense because I got round features and kind of semi-dark, and my hair is, has that colored flavor to it. So I can't have any sense. But if I had thin nose, little features, you got to have sense. They believe that S-H-I-T now. With it being thrown in their face where they're like children because you can read them and it's like kids. So anyway, dear Hashem says, we had a meeting and all the sisters in Oakland can tell you this. So all the attendants, the nice young ladies out at UC Berkeley, they're nice young ladies. They wanted to marry Hashem. And I'm the Imam, so they would pass me the message. Imam Musa, da, 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 da. I said, I'll pass it on, sure. So Hashem gets the message. He says, you couldn't melt a black woman and pour her on me. I said, this nigga is super racist. And he meant it too. He had 2 wives that I seen, and they are Iranians, and not regular Iranians. They got Iranians that's got black hair and all that stuff. He got one, the extra fine ones that they like, they call them fine. They are lighter in complexion. They're lighter in complexion. See, everybody got, you think it's niggas do that stuff. All of them got it. Pakistanis got it worse than we do. About a light Pakistani, good God Almighty. All the brothers here, they confirm it. Yeah, man. But anyway, that color thing. So all the sisters was mad at Hashem in Oakland. Because he's saying this in a meeting. We having a meeting, and by the way, Brother Hashem, I'll be the wali or whatever. You couldn't melt one of them niggas. Melt them, like honey or butter, and pour on top of me. And then I had 3 little friends that was Indo-Pakistani Shia sisters. They were junior high school type. They went to the school, and they would fill me in. They said, no, Hashem tells us don't pay attention to our parents, don't do this and don't do that, and all of that. And his parents thinking he's just the nicest guy in the world. And my 3 little friends, now later on, 5 years later, when them little friends is going to college and they are like, I said, the little friend stuff is all over because y'all, I said, hey, they're in the university. And you could have a little fan club when they're like junior high, but after that, the last time I'm talking to one, we had a big program. I said, no, I was just looking at the body form. I said, those days is over. Hi, Imam Musa, and all of that stuff, and da-da-da-da-da. I said, no, them days is over. That's it. I didn't tell them, but they was tender then. They was like, I said, no, indeed. I said, I ain't having no daddies coming out running after me with no shotgun. Plus, I ain't messing around no way. Doing too good. Anyway, Hashem didn't even like them, the darkish Pakistanis. They got good hair enough, but they just, Those are people that have credibility in the movement now. Yeah. They have credibility in the movement now. They're giving khutbahs. I say it, I don't know, they don't. It don't make me no difference. I'll tell you why. Because, see, there will come a time when all of that, see, the movement has been taken over by charlatans.
Real talk, yeah.
No. Mellow Yellow, he was going over there at the university, right? Mellow Yellow now is the almost acts like the elder statesman. When he out there in California, he was there, opened a masjid on the other side of town, and everybody rolling in, and he got 2-3 weeks of Arabic, well, more, longer than that. And that's the show. There is not one real person on all, you can't find nobody real. If they was real, they wouldn't do what those sissies tell them to do. See, the sissies tell them, you be against Imam Musa and da-da-da-da. They don't have no experience with no movement, and either the people are told to follow them or they just the Pied Piper. That's the way it is. That's one of the biggest things is for a person to make sure you never get caught up in that. See, because what they do is they'll try to make it look like something is wrong with you. Well, I happen to know that there ain't nothing wrong with me. Because I know what I do. I keep notes and I read. I said, this is what I do. And this is what they do. And then I'd go to the Quran and Hadith and I just add it all up, check it off. This is what they do. This is what I do. That's what it says. That's the criterion, right? That's Furqan. That's what it comes out. I don't make it up myself. I have nothing to do with it. The point I want to make is the guy I was talking to today, he said, yeah, they don't want anybody that's independent. I said, we independent. I said, well, how are you? I said, we're doing fine. I said, this, that, another. I said, but we're independent. And he don't work for them, but he do work for them, but he knows he's not an Iranian. I'm not going to talk too much about him, but he's from next door. And he's an alim. When he goes, he wears his regular turban and all that stuff. He don't wear it around here. You don't want the niggas to think this guy's crazy, But everywhere else he goes, that's his dress. And anyway, we talked for over an hour out there this little while ago about our friends. I said, no, they don't want people that's independent. And I'm not going to do that. He didn't say he wasn't going to do that because he's probably not independent because he's still in the team. In fact, they had him sitting there by my house and pulls out just when I'm walking back to the house. I mean, maybe he just live around the corner for some reason out in the Negro neighborhood. That's great. Anyway, it's okay. Everything is all right. Everything is everything. But Allah done blessed us, and we're thankful to Allah for everything that's happened to us. And we're thankful to Allah that Allah give us the energy and the time to sit back and just the great recovery. They think it's then, 2012. The great recovery is not then. The great recovery is now. So you send them through all the changes and let them throw all the punches they're going to throw and do everything. Because who would go telegraph, it's just like getting ready to throw a punch and then moving your body before you punch. Well, there are people that know how to fight or know that you're getting ready to punch. Right? It's simple. So you telegraph everything. Yeah, what we gonna do, boss man? And you take a vacation. He don't know you're taking a vacation. He think you're really struggling because you're going through all the changes. You ain't going. I mean, you're going through all the ritualistic stuff and making flyers and all of that seem like that's what you're doing. It's not what we're doing. It's what we're going to do. College of Islamic Movement Studies. They don't have it today, but they're going to need it, and they're going to need it big. College of Islamic Movement Studies, meaning this will be a real college with real teachers, real qualified people to teach the movement. That's what we're getting ready to do right now. Re-Africanization of Islamic movement in the USA. Re-Africanization made a lot of sense now, but I think during this period it might be not necessarily re-Africanation, but re-energizing Islamic, because now it will be all. Have you ever heard any of the young people talk now in the colleges now? They're getting revolutionary. They're not scared as their parents. And they're insulted. You know why? They've had the same American history books that everybody that we used to have, and it said, this is right and that's wrong. And they know that everything that's done to them is illegal. And that the people are lying. Their parents just know. In those days, we get away from the little dictator. We come over here, and it's going to be good, And that's what they did, okay? But their kids are from here. De-Israelization of Islamic movement in North America, you can see every time we open our mouth. And it didn't just start. Let me show you something from back in the day. Lies, damn lies. Now, this is Sunday Telegraph. Mandela acts as host to Men of Terror. President Mandela will provoke a new international furor this week by standing by his decision to host a conference of radical Islamic groups, including the Palestinian terrorist group Hamas and Islamic Jihad. Well, they're terrorists to the Zionists, but they ain't terrorists to Johnny Boy and his friends, right? They're not terrorists to us. They're nice people, right? Okay. Although the organizers of the 3-day conference, that's the conference we had in 96, would be held in Pretoria next weekend, deny involvement of terror groups. The Sunday Telegraph can reveal that representatives of both Hamas and Islamic Jihad. Anyway, Mandela in a couple of cases turned out to be all right. Number one on this one, all Israelis are telling him, hey, don't let them people come in. So he replies, lies, damn lies, y'all just lying. And he uses good old human language. You're lying. That's a lie. These people are not terrorists. And then the other one was on Fidel. Anybody remember that? Fidel? They wanted him to leave. Don't be friendly. Clinton told him, well, we would feel more better if you didn't mess with old Castro. Anybody remember the 70s when the Cubans came to Angola, and from Angola they went into South Africa and they whooped the South Africans to death, the Cubans. And remember, Cubans is, let's say, 65% black. Yeah, 65% black. Them Cubans licked they behind. And Mandela told him, he said, those people stuck with us in our darkest hour. And that's the words, in our darkest hour, right? The Cubans. And you telling us not to be hanging around with them? And what's the name, was standing there. He said, you can go jump into a pool. He meant jump in the lake. You remember the old saying, jump in the lake, swallow a snake, come out with a bellyache when we was kids. So we used to say, you can go jump in the lake if you didn't like something. Well, Mandela, I guess South Africa, they say you can jump in the pool. That's what he told Clinton. Clinton was standing there too. He said, no. Those people, I don't know if y'all remember, he said, those people stuck with us. Hey, man, those people helped us out in our darkest hour, man. That was, and so Mandela has some good points. And see, we have to study everything and everybody, and we can apply what fits into our time and our place and our circumstances. So we look at Mandela for more than just one reason. You know, a lot of people think he was a compromiser and another. No. He stuck with people that stuck with him. And the only reason now in South Africa, they going by and taking land from the white folks, you know. Okay, if he would have did that right away, if you're going to take all our stuff from us, we're not going to give up. We're not going to transfer the army to you. We're not going to transfer that. Like right now, the army is all black mostly. But at that time, the army was white. Because when I'm in South Africa, I'd go by army bases. There's army bases all over, and I'd see all these guys are white. That's then. And they have a few black people at certain levels. But when they get it to the army and the colonels and the captains and all that hierarchy is black, now they say we got to go get some of our land back, right? Suppose he did it on day one. Wouldn't have worked because the white people still had all the jets and all other stuff, right? So actually Mandela did a smart thing. I hope it didn't take too long, you know, or that period. But anyway, remember, we have to study everything and everybody. We're not going to be arrogant to think that Allah is just going to put everything right in our brain and we're just going to run right out happy as a lark. Islamic Institute for Counter-Zionist American Psychological Warfare. That sounds like what it is, Islamic Institute for Counter-Zionist American Psychological Warfare. We didn't have to do nothing but hook this up. And then they come out to do all of what they do, right? To show us who they are and what they're about, right? So we're managing and controlling what we're dealing with. We are. We were doing it then and we thought about it then and we're doing it now. I'm sorry, they're not running anything. They're just going through motions. We don't completely run our own lives, but we got them playing the game according to the way we want to play it. And they're playing on our field, right? Well, we got home court advantage. We know where all the potholes is. We know what reflects where. You throw the ball over here, they can't see it. Because it's a dark spot, you know what I mean? And they don't know that. So they hit their ball over there and they run around trying, where's the ball? Well, so when you want to conglomerate him up, you just hit it over there. Look, the people, our people All they need is the courage and the desire to do big things, and Allah will help them. Allah will help them. They're not exercising what Allah gave them. Okay, it's just an opinion. So again, College of Islamic Movement Studies. And I told the guy, and he knows about it, I said the last time I talked with the brothers, I told them in San Francisco about akhlaq. I said, the movement, at that time it was getting ready to head this way. I said, but now everybody is moving with Iran. He knows because he's not an Iranian, but he's from over that way. He can figure out where that is. So he knows them, and he's Shia, so he has the inside view on everything, really. He doesn't believe in Velayat Faqih. That's his problem. No, that's I said that. And I know who he likes, because he mentioned all the people, and I said they're fine. But anyway, no problem. College of Islamic Movement Studies. What I was saying to him was, Iranians have to have a high level of morality, akhlaq, because everybody's bringing their wives, their children, their family, and everybody they love along with themselves. So you can't be slick and colored and want to manipulate the thing, you know what I mean, too much, because of the level of trust. And I've always insisted that. And, everybody know it, because the thing with us, and let's say them for now, is just like the brother could realize that we're independent. He's not as independent. He's a nice guy, but he's not independent. Or else he wouldn't come by here like they sent him to, because we're going to do this here. We're going to do this today, and that's for IEC. As if the Iranians don't know what we're getting ready to do, right? And he pops there just the day before. I haven't seen him in a year. And he lives around the corner. It's okay. It's perfectly okay. Right? He's a nice guy. But see, there's a difference in what they do and what I do. I don't do that. All I do is what I think is right or wrong. Okay. So down in Dixie, the Iranians said, well, how do you know about certain things like that? Can you tell a government agent? I just referred him back to the early days. I said, because we're all black, and they're sitting there scheming with me. Yeah, we're going to tell the Iranians this, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to get the money. I said, I have to be a fool not to know what they're saying what the plan is. When Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui and them would be involved, they had a whole crew in L.A. Anyway, they're trying to push Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui around. Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui told him, I'm on the dole. The dole, that's welfare over there. You know where they dole out. I got heart trouble. I can't work. I'm on the dole. They was trying to get him to endorse. Remember, we're having all these big conferences. So they're trying to push him around. And then the Negroes is using all kind of nickel and dime con with the ambassador over here. They're trying to work out some way so the Negro can be economically independent. But Iranians don't necessarily want you to be too independent. Like nobody technically does. They want you to stay on the lease. The government don't want to hire anybody and they have independent action, right? Everybody's on a need to know basis. You don't need to know that, or you don't need to know that. All you need to know is 1, 2, 3, what we're talking about, right? This is the way everybody feels. Iranians are kind of like that. So, if you look at the Negroes here and everywhere, now somebody might have bought a joint out the way a little bit, but that was so they wouldn't be here. That's why they bought that joint out there. This is just my opinion. I mean, maybe they didn't. Maybe they just had a. So the customs anyway. How do you know that? I said, cause I'm a Negro, and until I let it be known that I'm not going for certain things, I'm not going to cheat nobody. They talking to me like I'm one of them. That went on for years. Yeah, here's what we're going to do. And I was just saying to myself, I'm just listening. I ain't going to do that. Shoot, by 85, we had a big conference in Canada, and I wouldn't even go to the Negro meeting. Why? They got $1 zillion they want to give the movement here, but they won't give it to one crew. They have to give it to the collective. So the Negroes made sure that everybody knew that they wasn't in harmony about nothing. So I stopped going. The brothers came over to my room, Imam Musa, they talking about the Iranians, because the Iranians did trust me. They said, if you don't go, they're not going to have that meeting. If you don't chair the meeting, they're not going to have it. So I just went on over. And all the Negroes was there from Panama, from this place and that. And they all, they actually make fun of you. You have to be, here come Big Hunk. Like not Big Hank. Big Hunk. And you got to just say, it's fine. Yeah, okay, fine. It's just jealousy. But I'm saying is, now they got a crew. They got what they wanted. They got a police crew. Every one of them is probably, well, I don't know that all of them are, but they act like it. They look like it. They Anyway, so people want people to sing the tune that they develop. I told her I'm not going to do that. I started telling the guy this morning. He already knew it, but he know the relationship with us, and he was maybe getting a feel from them. So before we get out and pass out the thing, they can come around and whatever they do, it doesn't make a difference. But we're ready. A setup ain't nothing but a setup. A setback ain't nothing but a setup for a comeback. That's what we're doing now. We're getting ready to make a comeback. We've did it 500 times before. It's not nothing new. It's never been, it ain't nothing new about it. And the way I feel about it, ain't not a whole lot they can do about it. Because you get them to telegraph their punches and do this, that, and other, and by the time you get ready to move, they're tired. Right? Or they didn't punch themselves out. Whatever they do, it don't make no difference. We're going to California with Allah's help. We already have our strategy, things that we're going to do. We'll talk about that in the future. And we're going to do those things. We're not going to be tired. Oh, I'm getting a little older, so I'm tired. I need a rest. And if they put tired in something, I just wear it off. Because they'll put tired and slow. I tell the children, yeah, they put slow down in Baba's stuff. Slow down, you just feel tired. Not like now. zooped up, And so if I hang over here for a couple of days, after a few days, whatever they've been giving you down there goes away. If they start giving it to me over there, the jig is up. I said, now I'm tired. I'm getting tired over there. Because, see, they don't know that you're going to hang out over there. So I've been hanging out over there for almost a week, just having a good time. And each day I feel better and better. And at home, downstairs, is tired. Now, when that tiredness wear off the pillow and wear off the stuff around that, I'll maybe go back over there for a while. Well, I'm sleeping here. I don't have to. I'll do what I want to do. There's a place over there. It don't have to be that nice, right? Because that ain't what we're doing. Anyway, let me speed up. I think we're going to have to do this again. Forgotten hero. This is Imam Jamil. This is 2006. Man, the dear brothers, this is a picture, this is Imam Jamil's son. They've been giving him the blues. I don't know if you've been there. They took the Masjid, and you know what I mean. They did all the stuff they did. And they didn't even have to do it. They already running everything. Is Imam Jamil surprised? Absolutely not. He told me in '83, I said, man, this is wonderful down here. Everybody's saying As-Salamu Alaykum. He said, they're not with me. They ain't with me. That was in '83, so I don't know. Maybe it haven't changed. And they followed the script. I'll put it like this. Everybody followed the script. The lawyers didn't do anything to help Imam Jamil. Nothing. And some people said there's some family members that are lawyers, they could tell. They let him go down the hill. Now, I raised a lot of money, and I took it down there till the end, and he told me to stop giving it to some people and give it to, Okay. So, we have something we have to do. If almost all the people wind up dead, that means you have a mission. You have to do, well, you do what you can, but you have to do what they might have was going to do, and you have to do all of that. And I don't say you have to, but you inherit the mission. The mission may fall on, and if the mission falls in the right ground, the people will handle it. And if they handle it, they grow in ability and stature. The bigger the responsibility, the bigger you got to be to handle it. So other people don't like responsibility, but responsibility is healthy, and it's good. And this poor guy, Major Nidal Hassan, victimized, human target of modern science fiction style psychological warfare. This brother is a major in the military, right? They say he went off down there. But suppose they know what they're doing. Suppose he's a target. Suppose he's in the psychological department. And everybody that's coming back from Iraq are saying things to him to help their soul. Yes, I stuck this rifle in this Muslim lady's vagina and blew her hair off. How much of that can he stand? See what I mean? They selected him because they know that they're going to send all the people back through him. They're not stupid. Who would have a Muslim that's relatively practicing Islam, psychologists, and they're going to come send the crackpots back through him that have the most trouble to tell all the problems to him. And he's going to go off and shoot them all up. Yeah, that's what they say. He was in contact with you know. And then this brother here ain't did nothing. He just didn't do anything, right? And they'd rather shoot Frankie. No, they'd rather shoot him and let Frankie the dog go, you know. It was miserable. S1. Sometime I'll show you from the Department of Treasury. S1, source 1, S2. It has 6 sources in there that they're getting information from, you know. And he's telling them, we ain't going to do nothing to nobody, innocent people, you know. We ain't going to do that. And they shot him anyway. And we call this guy here, what do we call him? Positioned as the first Afro-Zionist president. He's an Afro-Zionist. You know who said that? I heard it. I actually stole that. Dr. Hamid Algar. The last time we spoke in Berkeley together, he referred to, I said, I don't steal, boy, but I can't get away. I got to use that. He called Obama the first Afro-Zionist president. You know what I mean? Known as a Judas goat. Everybody know what a Judas goat does, right? A Judas goat, yeah. Well, just so you forget, the Judas goat get all the goats together, and they got a trap door. He goes in this pen, and he goes out the other trap door. He's trained to go out that other door, and the other goats get slaughtered. That's called a Judas goat. Okay, anyway, let me narrow it down and try to wrap it up. Okay, psychological guerrilla warfare has worked. This thing has worked. You'd have to have patience, though. I'm just saying. You can't conjure up all of this stuff and just snap your finger and it work. You have to have real discipline. You have to have real patience. And you have to be able to hold on. And when it says 95% of ability is stickability, that's what you have to have. You have to have stickability. You can't worry about what people are thinking, what they're saying. You just look at them and say, oh, because you got your mission. So anyway, psychological guerrilla warfare has worked. It has worked. And then suppose they come out with something on the internet like this. Oakland and American Islamic Revolution. Oakland, America, They have Jamil here. They have Imam Lukman here, and then they have me down at the bottom. You'd have to be an idiot not to understand the hierarchy. We got your homeboy. We didn't kill your other homeboy. And nigga, you next. That's what it says to me. I kind of, I took it like that. That's what they mean. And what we say, you can kiss our behind, Zionist. You didn't mess with the wrong nigga, that's all. Yeah, your time is up. That's the way we feel about it. That's the way we feel about it. And remember, when you look at the world, everything is moving in that direction. And the Zionists are acting so bad that they just, why? The Americans are acting so bad, why? And they're killing the people of Yemen, why? Why are they, why, right? Why? Because their time is up. And the people in Yemen are just not taking it anymore. I ain't taking that. Right? The people of Syria, they hurting. They ain't taking it no more. The people of Iran, my belief is that first war, 1980 to 1988, was their trial by fire. They haven't had to the physical, they're martyring people all the time. But as a country, they haven't been decimated like other people. And what are they doing? In Lebanon, right? They rolling in with shipment after shipment, right? If the other people down in Venezuela need, they sending it to them. And last week they did something on the high seas there. And it looked like the Iranians had turned into the Americans, jumping off the thing and going, right? Yeah. And saying, you can't they take their boat back and take it back and pump the oil back on the boat they had it on. Because the Americans come and steal the ship, right? And pump the oil. And you ought to hear them on press TV. Y'all hear them on oh, shoot, we done whooped they behind. And we done did this and we done did that. It's healthy. They're not getting arrogant because they know that what they getting hit with, how they getting hit, and but they respond when they get ready, and how they want to respond. And so you have to remember, with a few more allies strategically located in their own weapons industry, they'll be able to stand a little lightweight war. If the Zionists can't stand it anymore, well, okay. You look at the size of Iran and the size of Israel, it's a little spot like this, right? And I've driven around Iran, and it's just like driving around the U.S. It's about 30 or 40% the size of the U.S., including Alaska. That's a big joint. When you're driving around Iran, it's like you have the same feel you have driving around the U.S. You just be driving and driving and driving. It's not like driving through these states here. It's like driving through western states. If you go from here to New York, you go through Maryland, Delaware, Jersey, and you get to New York, just going 4 hours from here, driving. If you're driving out that way, 4 hours, if you're going from Beaumont, Texas, which is right next to Louisiana, and you don't even get to Houston in 4 hours. And then El Paso is way over there on the other side. You driving out there for not 24 hours, but a long time. Right, yeah. Yeah, out there in the middle, not in the middle of the ocean, but out there where the ocean is, well, they know where to start cleaning up. Okay, let me, revolution from Egypt to the Americas. Okay. Psychological guerrilla warfare has worked. Okay, what makes this a big deal is we're not sitting around letting them design the war. Okay, we're a small group. We can't run the whole show, but 80% of it may be in our hand. They're not used to that. They're used to everything being in there. We're going to make you niggas hurt. We're going to make you holler. We're going to make you poor. And we say, you ain't going to do nothing, boss man. And that is bad. Boss man and the Zionist is worse in arrogance than, let's say for another, the white man. Because white man took a few punches and his girls is all running all off and talking bad to him, so it's kind of working on his little self-esteem. Yeah, here in America, Britain, like look what they got. They got a program for little white girls, but they don't have nothing, like say in Britain, to help white boys, the little boys. So the boys are feeling, what did I do? We used to open the door for girls. We used to have a place, and everybody knew kind of where their place was. And now they got the poor kids, the white kids, males, where are you going to fit? The girls don't need you no more because they're hanging out with each other, right? And for a while, you're not going to put up with that. I said, hey, I don't know nothing about population control. Maybe Allah sent it. I'm confused right now, so I'll mind my own business. If girls and girls are together, don't worry about the population. If boys and boys are together, right? Don't worry about the population. I'm not saying that it was sent from somewhere else, but one thing about it, boys and boys don't produce no children, and girls don't. They can go down and adopt 1 out of every 1,000 children, but they don't have no new ones. So I don't know what it is. It's just I mind my own business. I'm just telling you. Add it up. Yeah. They're not having their 1.7 children. Mexicans are. Do you know? What was it, 25 years ago, they had babies having babies here in D.C.? Are they still doing that? Don't hear nothing about it now. What happened?
We're actually third in that type of category. Mexicans, the Latinos, the Asians, and then us.
Then us. We used to be right out there. Now, I'm not against it because everybody is brown or something like that. They're going to have to get along a little bit. I mean, what the heck? And then in a marriage, so even Asians marry a few Negroes nowadays, well, especially in California. If you want to see the future of America, go out there. You don't see it right here. It's just jumbled up a lot, It's really jumbled up a lot out there. And here people stay in their own neighborhood a little bit. Okay, I think we'll have to do another one of these. Anyway, a setback ain't nothing but a setup for a comeback. That's where we are right now. That's the goal. That's the stage that we're in. And we've been working toward that all the time. It's not a surprise. It may be a surprise to Boss Man, but it's not a surprise to us. And everybody, they fit where they want to fit because it's open. It's open for everyone to fit where they want in this new world transformation. Right? Okay, so if we have a certain picture of where we want to fit, the people just have to have the courage to step out and give it a try. That's all. Why not? Just think, like right now, today, we have an opportunity to fit where we want in this transition. Like, in other words, to choose it's kind of like choose your destiny. What do you want it to be? Because you're going to be charged for that on the day of judgment. It's not going to be what my idea for you was or somebody else's. What did you do? When you looked at all of this, what came to mind? Where do you want to fit into this? Do you want to maybe just boss man, he'll give you a little job. He won't give you no authority to do nothing or to fix nothing. He'll just maybe give you a job to keep an eye on other people that might. But suppose them people they're not in a tired mood. One of the poor Sudanese brothers, he traveled all over the country with me. He said, maybe they don't think you're that important anymore, or that you just got a little old. And I was happy that he thought that. I said, that's wonderful. Because the way I look at it is 25 years from now, I want to be doing kind of the same thing. If they take a rest or something, that's the way it's going to be, that's wonderful. I don't look at it like that. It would be, if Allah arranged all of this stuff in the order that they've arranged it, and a person don't take advantage of it, maybe something is wrong with them. I don't know. I think this is a period of blessing. This is the period of blessing. And it's here for us. We can choose, just us right here. We can organize ourselves, and we could choose our future. It don't make no difference what boss man think about it. It don't make a difference. We can choose. Remember the Quran, the way write your own book, because you're going to get your own book that you wrote. Who wrote that book? The angels didn't write. They might have mentioned it, because that's their job. But they didn't write it. They didn't act it out. Imagine that this is a reality, that we got a chance to write our own book. And we're going to come before the supreme being that created everything. I mean, can you imagine? No, I guess you can't, because that's a little too big. That the creator of the whole universe, right? The whole universe, you're going to be before that reality. And that ain't no joke. You don't know that. I said, well, I ain't taking no chance. Yeah, I ain't taking it might be true. I ain't taking no chance. Because what it sounds like is true, and I lean toward believing it, and I'm not taking a chance. You ain't joking, man. Shh. And all I got to do is be right for 50 or 80 or 100 years, and the rest is sweet. See, the Negro don't understand how long forever is. He think maybe it's a few billion, zillion years or something, quadrillion. He don't know. And boss man definitely don't know. You mean if I do halfway right, I got a shot at spending eternity in a certain environment? And it's all kind of levels, and I may be zillion years in level, whatever level you're on. If you just get in the door, you fine. Right? It ain't no bad spots. Hey man, you home free. This is the way I'm going to feel. If I get on the veranda that I can see in paradise, that'll do. I mean, from where I'm coming from, and I could smell paradise. I don't want to be on the other veranda where you could, everybody hollering, and I said, man, that ain't that's pretty bad that way. Just imagine that that's true. We have that opportunity. And see, it ain't betting on just a dead horse, because everything points in that direction. You know, everything you read in Quran, you can see and you could feel, you could taste. Hey, that makes sense. That's, it's different than reading the Bible or the New Testament. Yeah, Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. That's really something there. You know, I mean, it's fine. You know what I mean? It's for somebody that they. But this right here, hey man, it makes sense. So anyway, I think we'll make another one for IAC.
So I will be here tomorrow if you want to do a program tomorrow,
Yes.
because then I can probably get a DVD to you that night.
Perfect. We'll do one tomorrow if that's fine. Cause I just kind of straight. Is that close?
Maybe tomorrow at Thor would honestly be better for me. It gives me more time to burn the DVD
Tomorrow at Thur?
at Thor.
I'll be ready anytime tomorrow. Hey, anytime, and then I'll shoot. Yeah, you burn it, and I'll knock them boys over. Okay, and we'll close with this. We talked about forgotten hero, nonviolent resistance. Our view of nonviolent resistance, what it is, evolution of Islamic movement. Look, when we talk about evolution, we're in evolution. That's one of the secrets of, let's call it, our success, is that we've been involved in the evolutionary process, and we know it. Transition, transformation, and transcendence. Of course, transition from one thing to another, transformation, you evolve from one, and then transcendence. That means when you transcend and you evolve beyond all the gravitational pulls of there, everything that hold you down. Okay, so I'd like to close with this one. This is one of the favorites. And this is really predictory. Aisha radiallahu anha reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam kept a pulpit within the mosque for Hassan ibn Thabit radiallahu anhu, that he might take his stand thereon to take pride in the Messenger of Allah or to meet opposition. She reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to say, satirize the Quraysh, and verily it is more severe on them than the throwing of an arrow. As Sahih Muslim. She also reported, I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say to Hassan, verily, the Holy Spirit, that is the angel Jibril, will not cease to help you so long as you meet opposition for the sake of Allah and His Messenger. She said, I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, Hassan, satirize them, and it will cure Muslims and also cure himself. Satirize boss man, maybe the boss man might get scared and paranoid. Maybe that nigga, we done did this and we done did that. Nigga got something up his sleeve. Nigga got a guardian or something. Maybe the Holy Ghost is real. That's what they gonna think. That's what they think now. Because they done already did everything. They done got 50,000 tattletales. They done had people jumping out saying boo with sheets on their face. They done did everything for decades, and they had no effect. The thing they should have did was stopped a long time ago. They don't stop, though. They stop. You're in South America, and you get woke on what's going on, and you just woke on it. Then you come back here, and you're in prison. You have time to think about everything and everybody over and over again, because that's all you got to do. Run the yard, read books, and pray and think. That's what so to a lot of people, they sit up in the penitentiary and they just as sad as they can be. Not me. I know where I'm there for a rest, and I know it. I know I'm here for a rest and a breather to look at all of this. Yeah, I actually know that. And that's what I treat it like. It's a vacation. I'm here not like, I gotta go home tomorrow because I feel bad. Might as well. And then you get practicing Islam, and you're teaching, and you're reading all the Quran, Hadith, and you can remember it all because you're in jail. Right? Hey, man, that's sweet. It's better than going to a university. That means that you learn how to take advantage of everything. And then when you choose where you want to be, it ain't the same as not choosing. You know what I mean? That you're there because you were put there. No, if you chose it, right? If you selected it, then it's different, right? It's like selecting your vacation, where you want to be. This is a time when it couldn't be, look, the stuff we've been talking about it for decades and decades. And it's all coming out almost exactly like stated. Something is going on. Something is going on. I mean, that's just all it is to it, you know. And like somebody was saying something about, I remember when the brother mentioned something about the tree out there. If the tree fall, or you don't have to. I said, I ain't taking no chances. That means I'm not taking. Things are sweet. I ain't taking no chances on being slick about nothing. You can take all the chances you want. You can. Don't have to help. Don't have to do that. Don't have to do that. That's your business. I'm not doing it. I'm not taking no chances. Because, and I'll close with this. Thanks to Allah, that no matter what it looks like to everybody else, this is as sweet as I ever thought it could be. I ain't never thought life would be no better than this. I just didn't think it would. How could it be any better? It wasn't like that in Jahiliyyah. You have all the money and all the ladies and everything, and you're not, it's okay. I mean, I'm not complaining. But then you have a chance to set all of that aside and live a life that everybody else would consider that's a poor man's life. That's really poor. And that's not, but you like it. You know, so what you gonna live? The life that everybody else telling you is nice? That's what people in Hollywood do. This is the great life. And I'll close with this. The other day, is Chappelle, that guy, is he a relative of somebody here? That's what I thought, because he kept talking about his brother. And I didn't pay no attention.
Now, he does have a brother that's Muslim,
Right.
but he is kind of related to his brother Imam.
Yeah, I could hear it. Because all last night I watched all of, and they had a thing, he was supposed to get a $50 million contract, and he walked away from it. You know, and everybody say, but now remember, he's a musician, and that's big for him. That's real big, but he was mentioning other people. I remember, what's the real pretty lady that almost white, Mariah Carey she used to look real nice. She got a big contract and started acting stupid. And, and it didn't make sense. Why would you do that at that time? Well, it's what they charge you for that. You see what I mean? And that's why he just as happy as he could be now, But he passed that. No, I ain't going to. And everybody, I remember Oprah was trying to, are you sure He said, no, I got it covered. I went to Africa. I did this and I did that. And he looks better. He looked like he's older now. But he said, man, they on reruns. I guess his reruns was the most popular stuff in the world.
Well, I mean, just to your point, now it's like him going through that.
Right.
What you're talking about, now his controversy, he can say what he want to say.
Right.
And he's not afraid of the pushback.
Right.
Because he's already known the money, obviously, he's proven it doesn't have an effect on him.
The money won't do it. This is
And he's getting more because of that. Right?
no doubt. Hey, man. See, and you know who the people are that he don't say they the Zionists, but he don't say, but that's who it, that I wish we could get that. Maybe he could get that point across to other people that that's better than having a nose ring in your nose and just, hey, man. Freedom is different. No, freedom, hey, man. Freedom is different. Not being afraid is different. I don't care how much money you got. And I'll close with this. When I was big so-and-so and I had all that stuff, and I would be mad. I wouldn't be scared. This white man ain't taking my stuff. I'm going, and all that dumb stuff. And now, you do what you want. Why? Because when you realize that you really can manage your life toward a reasonable place, and when you arrive there, you're not all tired and mean and dead. You know what I mean? And Hollywood make people mean and scary. You know what I mean? Hey, man, and because they're taking it wrong. Well, anyway, Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha astaghfiruka atubu ilayk. Didn't mean to ramble, but I'll get back on that. Are there any questions or comments?
Yeah, a couple. So this is kind of going back to when we talk about South Africa. Who did South Africa give their nuclear weapons to when power was transferred to the ANC?
Shoot, they gave them back to the people of the Zionists, the people that gave them to them. Yeah, they gave them back to the Zionists and the Americans. Can you imagine the Negroes? You think the white folks gonna have the Negroes with a nuclear button? That's the same. They say, oh, no. I mean, I was there going there during the transition. They're saying, we ain't leaving no niggas with no atomic weapons. None. Not even a firecracker, not a World War II type, nothing. They give it to who they want. They gave it to, they shared with the Zionists. And the Zionists and the South Africans are always with the U.S. up there, pushing it around. But, yeah, it went back to the people they got it from. Yeah. No, it's mean. Huh?
It's mean. No, it's mean.
It's mean, but it's real. This is real. This is what they do. Let them niggas have an atomic bomb? Why would they want to just take it back? It's South Africa. Why would they just want to dismantle it? Only that reason. We ain't let no niggas, no Arabs, or nobody. And when you saw how they acted, they stuck with the Cubans. Next Cubans will have it. Then Iran will have it. Then all other, yeah. So what's the other question?
Brother wanted to know what you thought about the drone attack in Iraq today in the Green Zone. They are blaming Iran.
Look, the president. There's something going on right now. I mean, right this minute.
Right now, like
Right now with the. They kind of mad about. Well, the U.S. is making everybody mad. But remember, the U.S. has so many people there. It's unbelievable. The embassy in Cairo used to be the biggest embassy in that part of the world. It had 3,500 employees. When you got that many employees, it's because you want to control and manipulate. With those many employees, what are they all doing? Taking visas and stamping them? 3,000 people? Absolutely not. From there, you manipulating the whole Arab world from Egypt. Okay. Now, the world had changed a little bit. So, when that war started in Iraq in 2002 or 3, they made that green zone that it sounds like just a little zone, but it's probably go all the way up to New York and all the way over there. It's a big area. It's a big area, and they have money. They can control the flow, and they want to make sure Iraq stay destabilized. But Iraq is operating like what we made dua for. 65% of the place. And so, if you were to examine Iraq, it would look like they got 65% of Islamic institutions. It leans that way. Iran may be 90%, and that is 65%. So, if you take Syria, Yemen, Iran, and Iraq, and then you take the other two, Hezbollah, don't forget them. That don't look bad. And remember how everybody is acting right now. Muqtada Sadr just come out pretty good in the election in Iraq. Iraq is a cesspool for it just looks bad. They just tore up every system, purification of water, electricity. They have to get electricity from Iran. And when it gets 120, 125 degrees in the summer, they need them air conditioners, right? And Iran pump them over, electricity. They got the U.S. there trying to make Iran look bad, and it's not working, but they have their agents. They was there all of those years. So they're going to be able to affect Iraq in a negative way for a long time. But the U.S. is losing its ability because the people got an eye on everybody that was their friend. You know what I mean? Yeah, and so with that whole region is suffering very badly. In fact, what Iran has is light compared to what Yemen and everybody else have, because it fought its big fight in 1980 to 1988 by itself. Nobody was there. So, doing that type of jihad, it purifies the human being. I used to look at parents. I couldn't see the mother, but I could see the father during the war, and they had a certain look to them. And the hadith comes alive about purification of the self, the jihad, the martyrdom, and it has an effect on the family too. And I could see every father that lost a person in that war from 80 to 80 to 88, you could see that martyrdom, took something off of them. I mean, they wasn't running around happy and turning flips and all of that, but they had a certain tranquility, and they wasn't all sad like, oh, my son went to the war and lost this and that. No. And even the ones that hung on a long time, like some of my friends, they went to the war. One of them was a colonel in the Passaran, and he got hit with poison gas. I didn't know it because when, way people make a lecture before flags are waving, all the troops is goose stepping. I used to do that, Now, that's going to make the white man mad over here. He's going to be mad. And everybody, and the brothers that was here, you can see water in their eyes because this is our brother, and he's over here, and they had a little special thing going on. So one of our good friends, he passed away, but you don't hear the soldiers, now they're older, and a lot of them are really dying. Some of them spent most of the time in and out of the hospital from that poison gas. But they're not committing suicide, and they're not like the guys over here. You see what I mean? So Allah takes off of... hey, anyway, any more questions or comments?
Yeah, I do have one question though. So, what qualifies people to be teachers of Islamic movement?
There's no criterion. No, here's okay.
College you brought up, I was like, well, what qualifies someone to teach at that type of institution?
No, the teaching is by practicing. Okay? I can teach about Islamic movement because the father of Islamic movement during our time was Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui. Okay, that's on the Sunni side. All the other people, Islamic movement, you're acquiring all of this stuff. It's acquired. It's not, you don't get a certificate to say you've acquired and ready to. But in the future, we want to teach people. The last period we went through, all of those CDs, DVDs, and the articles, those were on Islamic movement. Those articles have they kind of stood up for those was deep articles. Now, in the first part of the movement, it's like a musician. You play, you play the standard tunes. But as you stick around a long time, you develop your own personality. And your music reflects, if they hear it, they say, yeah, that's so-and-so. Because they've just developed that style. And so that's the way we are. Okay, we're going into an arena of teaching and training. That's what we're going into. And we're qualified to teach. We say we're qualified because of what we've been through. We went through every movement, the Black Nationalist movement, the Liberate. We went through all the movements, and we studied all the time while we was there. And then on top of that, our writings are, when you put it on paper, it's different than saying it. You can, when you got it, you can add, subtract, you can see what's being said. Okay, so our writings, As-Sabiqun, which will have new As-Sabiquns, but this will be this stage. The writings will be on a higher level than before. Although those were good, and if people followed those, they would get them right along to a good master's type degree. Familiar with the subject, right? But if they want to go all the way, what we're getting ready to teach now, we teach it because we've studied it. And what we've studied, we studied it. There's nobody else. The stuff we talk, they don't talk that. They don't talk none of that.
So that's what I was saying. It's not like what makes you qualified, but it's like you have a very unique experience.
Right.
What about normal people?
No, normal. No, we teach. Okay, the big professor, you may never catch him unless the people that come next, as they get older, they gonna catch up with that. You see what I mean? They're gonna catch up with and pass it because the movement will have been through. At that time in the future, we'll have several functional Islamic states, but it'll still be these guys pulling this stuff. They can study our stuff and get the feel for it, but they'll have to write and adjust to that stage that they're in. Just like we have to do this stage. See, at one time, Ikhwan al-Muslimin was a good stage, you know what I mean? And then past that. And then Yusuf Qadawi would write stuff about that. Then it lost its punch. It don't have, And then you take, during Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui's time, he was the father of the Islamic movement at that time. We learned stuff. We learned stuff. Okay, I'll put it this way. I learned stuff because the other people are so dumb, they thought they had more sense than Dr. Siddiqui. Well, because when Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui said what he said about me, why did nobody listen? Why didn't they say, well, like the hadith about Ali, well, you're the mullah. Why didn't they say, you're the mullah, man? What's happening? They did that like the Sunnis did. They said, mullah my behind. That's a nigga. Right? That's what they said, right? But everybody know the hadith that, right? So if Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui is saying, and I had forgot he said it or something. Imam Musa is the essence of all that is good. I said, dog, man, that's deep. And then when I went back to South Africa, I saw why, a few months later, why they was acting so stupid and silly. And so Dr. Siddiqui just said one thing and y'all acting, they was mad and jealous and everything else, right? They didn't put none of that to in fact, they got busy as they could to try to undermine. They sent me around the country. They send the street prayer to all the favorable spots, and they would send me out in the woods. No, I'm telling you, that's what they would do. I knew what they were doing, but hey, So anyway, that's why this thing about evolution, we have to do what we can during our time. During our period when we're walking around, getting around, all of that. And then remember, a real movement evolves so the people that's been studying, they may go way beyond, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, Freud and all them guys had teachers, right? So next you get Young and all them people, and you know what I mean? The same thing with Islamic movement. I'm doing what looks clear right now. It's clear. I ain't even tripping off of it. But the movement will be on a higher level and more sophisticated and all kind of gobbledygook, artificial intelligence and sneaky weaky stuff. You know what I mean? And brainwash and see, I'll be able to touch on some of that, but by the time this is over, this is going to be way slicker than where we are now. They're just in the first stages. And so to make a beautiful world, I believe we can do it all. We're going to try it. And the last thing I'd like to say is if we have a choice of what we going to do, why not try to do the best? Why not try to do good, right? Why say, I'm going to fix them niggas, I'm going to get me some money. You just be another dumb, crazy person with a lot of money that they print, you know, and it won't be worth nothing in 2 weeks anyway, right? And it ain't worth nothing. It's not. I'll close with this. Look, I don't remember exactly how much money I've had, but I've had sufficient money. And the better I felt was when I gave it away. And the better I have never felt as good as I do now, I don't think. You know, maybe. But I feel fine. And other people would say, how do you feel fine? They do this, they do that. You don't have no this, you don't have no do that, you know. You got a place there, ain't nobody there. Place over there, nobody there. Place there. What? Hey, they don't get it. They got a price tag on stuff that don't have no price. On freedom, on liberty, on taskiya bil nafs. Huh? They don't, they ain't got, they don't know what it is. They think what? Contentment. Well, what is that? What did it do? What does it look like? Where you find it at? Can I buy some? No, I don't think you can buy it. But anyway, this is, to be working toward good is good. To be non-hateful and angry at the world is good. To love people is better than hating people. That's all. And I done tried them all, so, you know. And I'll close with this. I got one picture. Does anybody remember that picture I had? I was sitting on the stool in the club and I looked real mean. Okay. I looked at that picture at that time. I said, that ain't me. I said, that nigga there is mean. And I was. Lucky nothing happened. You know, nothing, nobody did nothing, because I had the power and I had the wherewithal to do something to somebody. But I just got lucky. Nothing happened like that. And I looked at that picture, and then I looked at my other pictures. I said, that nigga there is mean. I ain't. What is it that white folks said it? What is it to gain the world and lose your own soul? Hey, man, this is sweet. It would be nice if there were a group of people that could give it a try. They don't have to go all the way. They just get their feet in the water to see it won't kill them. You know, it won't hurt or nothing. Well, it might, you know, because sometimes you don't know about numbers. Your number may come up, you know, and you may get, but that's where confidence and faith come in. I believe, and I'll close with this, that this is the time for real lovers of Allah to get together. It don't make no difference in number, but they get together and they start cooperating to please Allah. And if they do that, that's going to be fine. If they don't, Allah will find somebody else. Allah ain't even looking for nobody else. So I already got the people. I mean, it's hard to imagine that Allah is. So for me and you, today is the day, tomorrow is tomorrow, but Allah is. So there's no yesterday, today, and tomorrow. It's just Allah is. You know, like in the Bible, Moses took his feet off. Take your shoes off, you on. Well, who should I tell him? Tell him I am who I am. Remember that? It's in the Bible. That's deep. I am who I am. And that's imagine. Hey, man, it is what it is. That's the best way niggas can put it. Okay, if there's no more questions or comments, all I can do is tell you what I've experienced. I don't want nothing different than what I got. I don't want nothing. Can't nobody bring nothing and say this is good, you know. And the white man come, he say, you like selling dope? You could sell all the cocaine in the United States now, and you could get you a big organization, and you could be filthy rich. I ain't doing that. That's what I wanted 100 years ago. I don't want that now. You know why? Because there's nothing like this. You know, like, let me see. I had that, and I had that, and I had that. And I have this. That and that can't touch this. You see what I mean? You already know. You said I didn't have all that. And it don't touch this. It don't make no difference what they say. So thank y'all very much. And we didn't mean to talk you to death. And but alhamdulillah.